Hi, I'm Catherine Bird, and I train coaches, healers, shamans, entrepreneurs, channels in energetic mastery and spiritual development. And I wanted to make this video because usually if I see something come within my field a few times in a fairly quick succession, it's a message of something that needs to be addressed and spoken about and looked at. So this video is about how even if you don't think that you're taking on anything from your clients or your people that you're working with in your office or whatever, that you still need to do clearing practices and to be working on your energy field and to be releasing and purging and purifying and working to release other people's energy from your system, from your body, and to be releasing their emotional charges that are coming up. It doesn't really matter if you're dealing with someone who's going through trauma in a healing session and they're releasing trauma out of their body or just some sort of emotional charge in your space. Or if you're dealing with someone who is in your company who's going through a hard time, or you're dealing with a friend who's going through a hard time and you're supporting them. We are energetic beings, and we are operating within the realms of energetics at all times, and so is everyone else. And the reason that I'm making this video is because I had, within a couple of days' time, I had two different people who I had conversations with about this issue. And then this is, of course, something that I have been working with for years, both in myself, having to learn things a little bit of the hard way, and not really understanding the depth of the need for this kind of work. And then also working with other practitioners and having conversations with high-level practitioners, high-level people who weren't aware that what they were doing might have been harming them in the long run. So I want to talk about a few key aspects of this. Number one, if you're not doing cleansing and purification and moving energy out of your field, out of your system, out of your body, out of your organs, etc., and replacing that with divine light and color frequency and with virtues, with your own inner work, then you are putting yourself at physical, emotional, mental, spiritual risk. And you might not realize that this is what's happening. You might not understand that the things that are happening in your life have any connection to this because you don't feel it right away. It's subtle. It builds up over time. It has a cumulative effect. And especially if we are used to operating in the world in a way where we are strong and we're powerful and we've learned how to deal with a lot of bullshit. We've learned through our childhood how to deal with a lot of emotional trauma, other people's shit. We've trained ourselves how to effectively dissociate in situations. We've trained ourselves how to shut ourselves off from feeling everything in entirety because feeling it would be too much. So we simply feel like, oh, well, I've got great boundaries. I'm not taking anything on. I don't have any problems in this area. Well, what I've seen is that we might feel that at the moment, but we're not seeing the effects over time. And the effects over time can be degenerative diseases, chronic illness. That's kind of at the far end of the spectrum. It can also be depression, anxiety, insomnia, different kinds of emotional instability, mental loops, mental thoughts that are coming in that aren't maybe, they're not the highest, maybe they're not connected to you, but you are thinking them, so you think that they are you. uh, uh, things that are coming in. It's so subtle and it's so tricky that we're often not aware that this is what's happening. We're not aware that what we're thinking or what we're feeling is not ours, unless we are one of those people who, well, I feel everything and I know this isn't all me, and all of these things. Like, we get kind of some people who are used to that being their reality, and so they're on the lookout for those things. And then we have some people who have, maybe you just have a more robust system. Maybe your system just is more full in the centers and isn't taking in as much stuff. That might be true, but it doesn't mean that over time there's not going to be a cumulative effect of other people's stuff basically landing on you and then slowly starting to infiltrate you and to infiltrate your system and to infiltrate your life in some sort of way. And so this is a thing. Number two, I think this is really important, because if you are telling yourself, I don't have that experience that you see that other people are having. I don't have that experience where I'm taking on other people's stuff. I'm super robust. I'm very healthy. My boundaries are amazing. I know how not to take on other people's stuff. I know how to take care of myself. But you're not doing energetic practices. You're not focused on your spiritual development in a way that is helping you to understand yourself at a deeper level. And you're not doing things to actually move this energy away from you, out of your field, out of your home, out of your office, out of your system. Then you are putting people you come in contact at risk. And one of the reasons, I had a conversation with someone who's a therapist who was referred to me from a someone who does animal communication, because his dog is actually responding to the cumulative energy, the cumulative emotional and energetic debris that is coming home with him, and is having anxiety and unable to process everything that he's coming home with. Although he feels like, well, I'm great, I'm fine, I'm not having a problem. So there is almost like, you can just think like there's these little dust bunnies in your field, and you might not be bothered by your dust bunnies because you live with those dust bunnies every day. But then when someone else comes over to your house and they're like, dude, this is not okay. Like, there's dust bunnies everywhere. There's cobwebs and goo. And it's an issue. But the real problem is that most people who come in contact with you, they're not going to actually know, they're not going to be able to make these correspondences to you having this particular kind of job or these issues or this family home life that you're going through at the moment, these relationships that you're in. They're not going to be able to make the connection between you not clearing yourself after your clients at the end of the day, and the fact that they're starting to feel more anxiety, depression, weird thoughts, energetic, just not being able to focus, things feel like too much. I'm having weird emotions that I wasn't having earlier when they come in contact with you. And I have personally seen this in myself. I've seen this in myself, having a partner who is doing work with other people, doing counseling work, doing therapeutic work with someone else, and not taking care of his energy body and not doing enough to really cut the cords and clear himself and create that clear experience before coming into an experience with me, and then seeing our interactions just totally go sideways, and it taking a while to be like, okay, what were you doing today? And, you know, what was the energy that you were in? What was the emotional charges that were coming up in the work that you were doing? And what did you do about it afterwards? And being able to unwind and see that, personally for me, I was responding to energetic that he was holding on to, and so was he. He was responding to energetic that he was holding on to from these emotional releases and catharsis and these different things just talking can bring up, or physical body work can bring up, and not having the realization around it. We can be conscious of many things and yet be unconscious of many things at the exact same time. So don't expect that you're going to know exactly what is going on, but through proper energetic practice, through proper awareness of your own system, learning your own field, and starting to work with different practices to be able to help you to shake this stuff off, to cut these cords, to create a clearer container for yourself. You are creating a clearer container for everybody else that you come in contact with, that whether that is your dog or your partner or your next client. And I know a lot of people who work in spaces where they are allowing energetic, emotional toxicity and density to clutter their treatment rooms and their office spaces, and to have the next person come into that experience with you and to have to wade through someone else's emotional debris is irresponsible. It is lacks effectiveness, and it is this is muddy. It's not helpful for either you and the work that you're doing or this next person that you're seeing. And over time, this energy that you're creating inside of your space can actually be building up such a portal of negativity and density that it is drawing more of those same energetics into that space. And this can be the same as if you are operating a business and you're running a business. And there's stuff that's coming up. There's emotions that arise. There's stuff that's happening for people, because if you're in a situation with your team, people are getting triggered, even if they're not talking about it. Stuff is coming up for people. Inter-office communications, ways that people interact with each other, ways that we communicate with each other that signal a lack of respect, or misogyny, or different ways that we communicate with each other that are not of the highest. Doing clearing work for yourself, for your space, for your collective, because you can hold that awareness of the collective that you're working in, the team that you're working in, even if you only work online. Say you only work online with clients or with a team that you're working in, and you have maybe people all over the world that you're working with. You doing your practices, clearing yourself, working on your energy field, working on your energy body, sourcing yourself completely, doing this work to clear your own emotional residue and deal with yourself on a higher and higher level, that is going to reach out into the collective that you're working with. And it's going to create a better healing environment, a better work environment, and a way for the people that you are working with to enter into a space that has clarity. And from that clarity, a higher level of work, a higher level of transformation, a higher level of collaboration and communication can occur. We have to clear out the cobwebs. We have to clear out the old gunk. We have to move through what is truly holding us back, emotionally and energetically. And often these are the things that we are unaware of. On the surface, We can think that everything is fine. We can think that we have great boundaries and we've got our shit together and we're not taking anything home and we're not taking anything on. And I'm going to say bullshit to most of those people. And I can say that just because of my own personal experiences of having that belief system and seeing some things, and my own work with other people, and also having conversations and interactions with high-level, high-functioning people who are either operating a business and they're the shit out there, or people who are high-functioning, high-level shamans and healers who eventually at some point start to make some connections to issues that they're having in their physical body, illnesses that they're having in their physical body with the work that they've been doing over their lifespan. And starting to go, oh, I really should have been doing something different that whole time. And this is not a huge thing. These are small shifts in awareness, small shift in practice, small shift in how we relate to the world and how we relate to the work. So if you're interested in diving more deeply into this, reach out. Let's have a conversation. This is work that I am very, very passionate about because I believe that we are all being called to operate at a higher and higher and higher level of what is going on in our energy body, of what's happening for us as we develop ourselves intuitively, as we develop our practices, as we develop our way that we work in the world with other people. This is one of my supreme passions. So if you are having issues with this, reach out. If you're not sure if you're having issues with this, reach out too. And I'm happy to have a conversation with you and dive into this a little bit more deeply and see, like, what's an assessment of where you're at? Where would you like to be? Like, what is the highest functioning aspect of you that you would like to see enter into the world? So anyways, I hope this is giving you something to think about and contemplate in your work, in your world, in your family, and many blessings.